Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of Unstoppable Success. I am your host, Jaclyn Strominger, and on this show, we hear from amazing leaders and influential people who have done it. They have had unstoppable success or are still having unstoppable success, and they get to share their tips, their tricks, their insights so that you can be like them and have unstoppable success. And today, I can't wait to introduce you to somebody that I absolutely love. And this is the Jaclyn Squared show today. I get to introduce you to Jaclyn Zuckerman. And let me tell you a little bit about Jaclyn. She built and has been building this amazing media platform. I was going to say empire. That was the word I was looking for. It is an empire. She is the founder and CEO of Next on Scene Media. It's an independent media company spotlighting cultural leaders, entrepreneurs, entertainment figures at pivotal moments in their careers. And it began as a podcast and evolved into a multi-channel platform spanning magazines, live events, strategic visibility, say that 10 times fast, high-level interviews across entertainment, business, fashion, and culture. She has worked with hundreds of founders, public figures. She has been featured on Fox, NBC, CBS, ABC. You know it, like in style allure. She is like the it girl. And she is all about building visibility ecosystems. So, without further ado, welcome, Jaclyn.
Thank you, Jaclyn, for the beautiful introduction. I appreciated that.
Oh my God, it was like so amazing to have you on because we first met in 2017.
Yeah, like we go way back. We
We
really
go
do.
way back.
It's really
We
special. We have
Yeah.
a special bond, the Jaclyn Squared. Exactly. I
Yeah.
love it.
And when you were I remember when you were starting out and there was a fashion show. I was not in the fashion show, but participated as an exhibitor. It was great. It was a great event. But let's just kind of go back because your success, I mean, just amazing to see all the things that has transpired. But where did it start for you?
Yeah. So I'm a New Yorker first. So I've lived in Boston now since 2014. I worked for a talent casting agency prior to going off on my own, and it was great. It was just working for other people, getting, I don't want to say yelled at, but getting talked down to and felt disrespected a lot. And not even just in that job, but in other corporate jobs. Like I worked for family for a long time. Like I just had kind of seen it all, And so I was like, screw this. I have skill sets. I'm going to go on my own. And so that's really like what kind of like, as soon as I moved to Boston, I didn't know anyone here. I fell into Top Chef on Bravo. I worked as the assistant stylist to Padma, but then they went back to California and New York and they're like, are you coming back? And I'm like, no, I'm actually going to take a risk and like bet on myself. So I had my little startup podcast in my guest room closet. And everyone kind of was like, I'm getting attention from this. What else can you do? And this was like in 2014 before podcasting like blew up, to what it is now. So that kind of funneled into everything we do today, from social media to getting in media. So that's what we do.
So taking that leap, which, you know, what do you think it was that helped you have, for lack of a better word, the courage to do that?
Real. So I just talked about this a little bit today with somebody. It's so funny that we're talking about this. It's like the theme. So there is a lot of judgment as a woman in business, as a
Mhm.
young woman in business. And so it has like if you go in, it's just like trial and error. Like you take a risk, there's gonna be judgment, there's gonna be tests and trials and tribulations. And you're like, do I face this head on and go for it? Or do I want to like curl up in a ball? And I've definitely done both. Like we're gonna be honest here. But I think like there was something in me that was like there's more to this. Like I really just went all in. It was resilience. I think it's from like personal life of growing up with divorced parents and like having to face things in my life that I was like I want to go in on myself. Like this is for me. So,
Okay, so one thing that I think that I hear a lot of people say, I'd like to do this, but like, what do I do about the money? Like, how
so
do I
real.
make money? Like,
Yeah.
I'm used to the check that comes in every single week. So
So real.
how was that mindset for you? And
No, love this question. So clearly, when I first started my idea, I came off of money from Top Chef. So I had some money saved, and I was like, I'm gonna try and see if this works. And this was 2014 podcasting, like, could not go fully on a business in podcasting, like, could not. Like, I'm gonna be open about it, you know? So I was like, I took a part-time job at the Chamber of Commerce where I live in Everett. It was a great networking opportunity. I met a lot of people there, and I was building my business on the side. So I went back and it kind of gave me the courage and stability financial that I could invest in myself at the same time. And then 3 years after being Chamber of Commerce, I fully went 100% in my business because I had money saved. I was like, my husband was like, go for it. So I went all in.
That is awesome. But
Mhm.
here's something that I think that I really want listeners to hear. There was a plan, right? You had a plan and it wasn't it wasn't like a seat, like fly by the seat of your pants. It's
Right.
like, and you were very focused, on that. And so when you became that focused, were there things that you had to say no to?
Totally. And that was tough. That was tough because I like, especially in my business, like to go off site and do interviews at different places. And like, I just, because I had the job, like I couldn't do that all. You know what I'm saying? But this is something I look back now and I'm like, those opportunities at that time weren't aligned. And so now I feel like better opportunities are presenting themselves, but that's a learned experience. Like back then, I like, like we're all about like our egos in our head, like, oh, we should have done that and we could have done better and all these things. And I'm like, I'm glad it didn't work out the way that it did because now I'm here, right? So,
And what you just said is also really important. Talk about the alignment piece because I think that's really, again, listeners listen because alignment is
so important.
so important.
So important. I really believe in doing like spiritual work. Like you have to work on the inner work to really understand what alignment is for you, right? Like I think that that's really big for me. Like I've done so much internal work and I think that that's what I constantly teach people in my business. I'm like, you're going to be in the spotlight. Can you face judgment? Can you face what people are going to say? There's going to be a lot of people that love you, but there's going to be people that don't like you. And that's just the way of the world, right? And that's so real and it's hard to accept. And I think that's also like a fear factor for people too.
And I think that's really true. But I think also, I think what you said about it, if certain opportunities are not aligned with you, both whether it's your values or maybe how you feel, the energy of it, you have to say no.
100%. But I think you have to take some chances on yourself to understand what's a hard no for you. Like I think I like people please tendency like, "Oh, maybe I'll do this and maybe I'll do that." And like long term I learned like that was a hard no for me. Like so I think it's like a learned experience too.
I would agree. I think it's a learned experience, but I do think that if I'm just thinking, if you can get to the point almost like ahead of time where you know your vision and your mission and your values, then you can almost use those as the lens to filter, right?
100
Right? To what is a yes or no, right?
for
Um,
sure.
so you've been in your business for
11
over
years.
11
11.
years. 11 years.
Mhm.
So would have been, I mean, because it's not a linear straight up.
Yeah, no.
So how, would have been some of your, lows and highs?
Yeah. So I think in all, first thing that I learned really early on is I got threatened to be sued because I launched a magazine and I had to learn really young about trademarking. So like that was traumatic for me. Like I was like, what is this? Why are people coming after me? Like, and this is just what happens when you get a lot of eyes on you, which I constantly tell people like there is going to be people that unfortunately like aren't your friend or aren't your business people. Like these are lessons to be learned. So I ended up trademarking at a really young age. And then from there too, like I feel like there's I'm looking for the right word. I feel like you're go like as you grow, the old clients don't always align with you anymore. And so it's outgrowing each other and being able to face those things to get to your next, you know, financial goals or your next, dreams. Like there's almost these barriers that I've had slow periods, but I've had the slow periods and then I got my dream client at like a higher dollar amount a month. So like in those months where I'm struggling, I'm like, it was worth it. Like I had to take on some slow projects that I didn't love to do, but it got me to that next place. So there is some sacrifice with it.
So one thing that you just said made me think about Michael Michalowicz's Pumpkin Plan, which is basically understanding that the book. If you haven't, listeners, I'll put a link into the show notes for it. But it's a really great book because it talks about what you just said about you outgrow your clients. You have to look at some of your clients are have a higher per client, margin, you know, and some of the low-lying fruit end up being not as profitable because they take up more time. Like so you outgrow them
Right.
and
And
you
I think too, for me, a big thing that really kind of opened the door to that was having kids because my capacity changed. So the way that I used to give to my clients, like I don't have that capacity anymore. Like I love to help people, but like I just like family's important to me and I that takes priority.
right. And that's really huge.
Mhm.
So obviously crazy struggle. So what have been some of the like oh my God, that's I can't believe that happened to me
Yeah.
moment.
For sure. So I would say like a few stand out to me. So I don't remember if it was the year that we did the fashion show together, but one of my clients was a designer at that show and we got her to dress some of the producers at the Emmys, like the Daytime Emmy Awards. So we flew out to California. She dressed some of the producers there, some of the actors. It was so cool. Like to see her like line on them, like being interviewed. It was really cool. So that was like an unbelievable moment for us for sure. And it feels so full circle because in January this year, one of my clients has like a luxury hair tie product that she does, and we got her place at the Grammys. So she did the gifting lounge there. We gave some of the musicians her product. It was so cool. So like it's really cool how things like come full circle.
Right. Okay, so that's actually totally fa how did you make that happen for
Yeah.
them?
So relationships,
Right.
relationships I've built over the years. And I always love partnering with publicists. People think sometimes that publicists and I think they get competitive in all their industries. To me, like we're allies. Like we don't take each other's clients. We can collaborate. Like my client represented one of the person who directs the Emmys. We've been friends for years. And she was like, "Oh my God, you have a fashion client? Like she'd be great for this." And so that's how that happened. And with the Emmys too, they do all these lounges, and I had been in touch with people who run them. And over the years, like it just kind of fell into place. I just reached out to them, and they were like, "Yeah, of course we'd love this product. It would be great." So it's so funny how that happens.
Okay, so I really want to hone in on this because I think this is actually really important. Actually, because it for a lot of different reasons, and I'll say, listeners, do not be bashful, right? About picking up the phone and trying to make
Go
connection,
for it. Just go for it.
right? What's the worst that could happen,
And
right?
seriously, like to your point too, years later, it had been like over 7 years since I last did that. You know what I mean? Like, and it just like it was my old relationships I had. And something presented itself and I just knew who to contact from like 7 years ago. You know what I mean?
And I love that because it's so important. It's so important to build those relationships. I feel like I say this all the time, and I have a course coming out. It's all in relationship capital, but I created this formula. It's the relationship capital RC equals P your well like Y like you're the person times other relationships to the nth degree, right? And so the N is all the people that they know, right? So your relationship capital, you meet somebody, you stay connected with them, you never know. You can pick up the phone and I can be like, okay, hey, Jaclyn, I've got a client who, oh, do you know somebody? I can ask you.
Totally.
It's, think of it as Kevin Bacon, right? 6 degrees of separation, right?
Literally though. It's such a good comparison. It's so true.
Right? And
What's the
it's so,
saying too? Like, even though even we were talking about how you outgrow your clients, it doesn't mean that we end on bad terms.
right.
You just outgrow each other. You have different needs, right? Like,
But you
it's
don't burn the bridge.
Right. Exactly.
right? And
Exactly.
you can expand. And so a client could change, but you still have them as a contact.
100%.
So as you've been growing, you because you have different media channels, what do you feel like is the one right now that is like what is your biggest focus on right now for media and growth?
So are we talking about like news or are we talking about social media? What are we talking about?
Well, I guess on both fronts. Like what do you
Okay. I
see?
think Instagram and LinkedIn are my favorite apps. I scroll TikTok all the time. It almost like feels like you're like in a zone though, like unhealthy after a period of time. I actually feel like Instagram and LinkedIn are more business savvy. Like I think if you have products, TikTok is great. You know what I mean? But for me personally, I would say LinkedIn and Instagram are my favorite social media outlets.
Okay.
From a media side, I think TV news is changing a lot. They're growing on YouTube, like they have to go with the way of the world. I mean, literally, not as many people watch actual news, but they'll replay it on their computers, or on social media. So I think that that's changing a lot in the news world. So I use a lot of social media now for my news outlets. I follow my reporters on social media. Like that's how I get the news. Um, and then I would say too, like I think what's happening now with more magazines and newspapers are going digital. Like that's what's happening because print is just it's expensive. It's expensive. You worked in magazines, like you get it.
I know I was into the digital side of it too, and
Right.
I'm like, I was just having this conversation with somebody though. I maybe it's the old school person in me, but I literally just said to somebody, I want to start subscribing to more magazines because I want them coming in. I'm so tired of looking at a
I
screen.
know. I feel you on that though. I don't know how I don't know how many real prints exist as much anymore.
Right. And
Um,
it's funny because I used to sell digital magazines and help magazine companies get into digital. And now I'm thinking, I get it. It's less expensive, shipping, mailing, print, paper, ink, all of those things. But yet it's still a screen if I switch to
100%.
digital.
100%. I only like for mine, I only print a certain amount because I like the tangible, but majority of it is
It's
digital.
digital. It's digital. And so where are you seeing, so if somebody right now, if you had to say to them, because obviously promotion, marketing, and you said to somebody who's just starting their business, what is the like top three things that they should be doing
So I
to grow or
Good,
get
good
visible?
question. So I have this like I call it like a 360 visibility process where like if you don't have current photos that are depicting your goals today, you need to update your photos. If you haven't tried going on video, you need to practice some video talking. Like it's really important because especially as a service provider and as product, whenever you have products, like people need to visually see things and they need to know how you differentiate yourself from the competition, right? So I always say that that's really important. I think having email marketing is really important. So I would say like three starters is like, I don't know, I would even say a website though is probably more important than email marketing. So I would say like updated photos, practice some stuff on video, and get like a one-page website up and figure out your messaging. Because I think social media can be overwhelming for people. So like
Mhm.
get clear on your messaging and have visuals, and then you can explore that. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I'm so glad that you said that because I feel like about your messaging because I really feel that there's that is like one of the such a key topic. So I'd love for you to kind of hone in on niching,
mhm.
right? Because people talk about I hear it all the time where people are like but I want to I help everybody.
Right. And that's long term, it never works out. Like you almost spread yourself too thin.
Right. Right. So really being able to know what that message is and who you want to speak to is
Right.
really, really key and important.
Sometimes though, that's like we said earlier though, it's like learned experience because when you are starting a business, you are learning like you think you know who your client is, and then you get totally different people that end up buying from you or like hiring you. So I think it's like a catch 22 sometimes,
Right.
you know.
Well, let me ask you a question on this. Like, what do you think? Because sometimes if your messaging, let's say your messaging is up here, like higher, for those that are not seeing this on video, I'm raising my hand like as a level. But if your messaging is like, I've talked to CEOs, but you're getting people that are not yet a CEO, but maybe they want to be there. So like your messaging says CEO, but the wannabes hire you. Like
Elaborate for me. Elaborate that question.
so um it's like the person who's the dreamer. Like I was somebody said, "Oh my God, let's just say, oh my God, Jaclyn works with all these amazing stars. I'm not a star yet, but I want to be one, so I'm going to hire her, right?" So, it's like they hire you because you can help them with the dream.
Right. Right. So I think like what people get like so many people come to me with this. It's so funny we're talking about this. And I think like we all are stars, first of all. We all have our lights and there's plenty to go around for everyone. But I think like figuring out, and I think this is something that I push people so hard. It's like the most vulnerable things you don't talk about is what's going to separate you in the noise. Like figure out like your story and that's another thing too, like getting confident in sharing vulnerable things because that's really what sets you apart. It is. Like that's your story that no one can ever take from you. Yes, you
Right.
could be a coach, you could be a marketer, you could be a publicist, but like no one has our story of how we got to where we are, right?
That is so true. And knowing that story is so important. And I love that you said be comfortable being vulnerable because not everything is, a bed of roses.
Right.
Right? And from what I see, a lot of people want to see the authentic you. And I think that's really important. And so,
So true. I mean, you see all the people that are going more and more viral and getting more picked up by brands. It's like the people that are doing behind the scenes of get ready with me, or like they have no makeup on, or like they're just being themselves
Mhm.
because that's just what people want. That's what people want.
Right. And so that actually just makes it so that it's like for the everyday person,
Totally.
right? You know, so thinking about success, if and our listeners are wanting to like, you know, I want to level up, what would be like, your top three pieces of advice, that you would say to somebody to help them sort of like level up? How do they, like, where does the grit come from, and that, like, the unstoppableness, so to
I love
speak?
this. Well, this is where I believe in coaches and like all like to work on the inner work. Like what's preventing you from getting to like be talking on TV confidently and sharing something vulnerable, right? Like you need to do that inner work. So I would say like that's part one. Update your wardrobe because I believe that when you look good, you feel good, you show up, right? Like
Yep.
that's something that I'm personally working on myself. So I'm speaking from firsthand experience, like getting there as a mom with young kids, but it's totally good. I think also like boundary setting has been really big. Like,
Mhm.
I think it's really important to have clear boundaries, like your personal life and your personal time, put your phone away. Like, people don't have access to you because when you have the time to be present with yourself, I actually think the opportunities present themselves a lot faster because you're not focused on those things, you know?
I want you to repeat that because that is really important.
Yeah. No, I think that like put your phone away and like focus on being present in the moment. I've been finding lately when I have my kids like T-ball games or whatever, like I'm not accessible and I get leads. I'm getting like new opportunities because I'm just not present and worrying about it. You know what I mean? So that's been big, I feel like.
And I think there's something there too. Like I just shared this the other day too. It's like I feel like things are, as we were just said, like things happen in themes. Being 100% present in conversations, it actually makes you so much more real as a person. Like, I would bet that if somebody's looking at you at the T-ball game and they're like, "Oh my God, she's got this business, but she's not sitting on her phone. She's actually watching her kids." Like that speaks volumes.
Mhm.
I mean, it really, really does. So, what is next? Like, no pun intended. Like, what's coming up for you?
So I have my next magazine coming out. So we're going to be announcing the cover like in the next week or two, which I'm really excited about. And other than that, like I still have my clients that I like do retainer work for regularly, like media PR stuff, but I don't really like I'm thinking bigger picture now. Like because my kids are little right now, my focus is less clients and being more present with them. But in the next 2 to 3 years, I want my own space that I get people to come in for experiences, like for photo and video shoots and for like having their own shows. And I see it being like a big place where people come and create content and I don't know, have media days. Like, I don't know. It's kind of a vision that I have. Events, whatever it might be.
I absolutely love that. You'll have to
Thank
let me know about that because
you.
I'm signing up. Because then I can come back to Boston.
Exactly. Perfect. I love that.
Just
So
make sure
good.
it's in the summer or
Yeah.
spring. Like
I agree with you. That I agree with for sure. Definitely.
or better yet, maybe even like, you know, September, October, so we get the fall foliage. Because
Yeah.
out here in Reno, Nevada, it is not the same.
Right.
Fall foliage is not the same.
So funny.
All that. All right, so Jaclyn, tell everybody how they can connect with you, learn more about what you're doing, and get more of your greatness, and hopefully bring you on to help them with, getting on media because that is, and being seen.
Thanks so much, Jaclyn. This was awesome. Nextonscene.com is my website. Anything Next on Scene or Jackie Zook, ZUK is great.
Awesome. Okay, I will put all of those in the show notes. And listeners, please do me the favor. Share this episode with your friends, your family, because so many great information was shared. And then you have to follow Jaclyn. Follow her on social, have all those links in there. Connect with her on her magazine, get her magazine. And then lastly, please do me the favor if you haven't subscribed, actually, second to last, subscribe. And lastly, I have a school community, Unstoppable Success. It is a great community where you can actually connect with other people who are having unstoppable success. It's a place where you can share, connect. We have power hours. We work together, and then we also have monthly uh, meetups or masterminds where you can actually hear from a specialist. When you never know, Jaclyn might be one of them one of
I
those
love it.
weeks, and you can actually just ask questions. So join us on the school community. I'll have the link to that also in the show notes. Jaclyn, thank you so much for being a guest.
Jaclyn, this was a blast. Thank you so much. So,
Thank
such
you
so great.
so much. I love it. And listeners, thank you so much for listening. I'm Jaclyn Stomminger, your host of Unstoppable Success, and our goal is to help you keep leaping to your greatest success. I'm Jaclyn Stomminger, and I want to invite you to join the Unstoppable Success community on School. You can go to Unstoppable Success at school-9143 and join us. In this community, you will get daily tips so that you can be unstoppable, and you'll also connect with other leaders and professionals who are also aiming for their unstoppable success and are there to help you succeed. So join us in the community. We can't wait to see you on School.